Have you ever stated out loud that you want to do something that was a stretch goal for you, and then to be met with naysayers, someone who said, okay, or people who said, no, you can't do that, or you're a dreamer, or what makes you think you can do that? Well, I want to talk during this episode about challenges and goals that we set for ourselves. And we have our own internal barometer of what we can do and what we can't do. And I love the saying from NASA that says the sky is not the limit. We've proven that. So why not have big stretch goals? Well, recently, it's been seated in my heart for a long time to do this, actually, but it just really manifested that I am going to do and walk the Camino de Santiago. I'm going to walk the Portuguese route at the time of this recording. It I'll be start my walk in about 10 days. And I want to share with you how challenging this walk is. The route that I'm taking a section of the Camino along the Portuguese route, and it's 124 kilometers, so about 78 miles. So 78 miles walking, and I plan to do this in 7 days. And I am sharing about this because it's been interesting, the feedback I've gotten. First of all, you know, setting step goals and walking goals has not been a priority for me. It's not something I can do. I love to read. I love to research. I love to write. I love to do all those things. And I also commit weekly. I train. I do boxing or some other weight training at least 3 to 4 times a week regularly. So I do that. But walking, not such had not been such a priority for me, but like a jump rope and do other things. And I walk during the day, but not to the extent that I was training to walk 124 kilometers. So as I announced this to one of my friends who is a hiker, he's like, "Oh, you'll never be able to do this. I mean, maybe next year, but not this year." And and then I asked, and that really struck me like, wait, I think I can do this. Like, to test myself, I went and I walked 8 miles and one day and 6 miles the next day. Okay, not a full, maybe at my maximum on a day will be 20 miles. But at one time, I'm like, okay, I'm going to work up to this and I feel pretty good. So I checked in with myself and I said, okay, I need to train harder. And so I connected with another friend of mine, a friend of mine I've introduced to you guys, Natalie Jill, who is collaborates with me on projects. We've done master classes together, and she's a very good fitness coach and mentor and a mindset coach, really. And she said, okay, she goes, this is awesome. I love how you just say you're going to do something and set out to do it, right? But you got to walk 2 times a day, for at least, work up at least 5 miles twice a day, and then do some longer walks 2 or 3 days a week, 10 to 12 miles at a time. And I was like, okay, that's reasonable. And that was encouraging to me. It was like, not, no, you're not going to be able to do this. It's like, okay, you've, you've got to prepare so that you are enjoying the journey and the hike and you're not suffering with blisters and your ankles sore, legs cramping, and all that good stuff. And also my fitness trainer, one of my coaches that I hired, they are like, okay, we got to work on your knees and your ankles and just and your core and your back, and very encouraging to support me on this journey. And I feel very supportive. And my daughters have been very supportive of me on this journey and that I want to take this time for myself. So July is my birthday month. I like to celebrate a birthday month. It's pretty powerful. And this July, I turned 58 years old. So it's my 58th birthday present for myself. And so let me tell you what the Camino Santiago is. It's really well known as a pilgrimage site to the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela. And it is reported that it's known as the site where St. James the Greater, one of the 12 apostles of Jesus, his bones were buried. And so pilgrims have come from around the world and really, became popular in the 1400s in the medieval times, that this pilgrims would come from all over and walk in pilgrimage to the cathedral to be able to pray and feel the blessings of this holy place, this very holy place. Since then, the Camino is open. I mean, it's been open to all faiths, all travelers, all purposes. People go there do this Camino for many reasons. Some they're just hikers, some they're just curious, others they want to do the challenge, and others have a spiritual um, root for it, whether they're Catholic, Christian, or not. And so I love the story of the Camino de Santiago, and I know people have gone from around the world. And what I've since researched is that as long as you make 100 kilometers, you get your Compostela, you kind of get this passport stamp that says you've walked 100 kilometers of the Camino. But there are many routes, some as long as 500 kilometers. And you can do sections of it at a time and accumulate the routes from different places. Probably the most famous route is the French Camino. So it originates in Saint-Jean-de-Pied in France and goes across the Pyrenees mountains and is a very challenging, arduous hike. And that route takes about 30 days to hike. So I am doing the Portuguese route, which goes from the southern aspect of west coast of Spain to the northern aspect of Portugal. So it's right on the Portuguese-Spanish border that I'll be walking. A little bit of it's coastal, so I love the sea, so I can't wait to do that part. And it's about a moderate challenge. Not too many hills in Dallas for me to work on, but I've been working on stairs to get me ready. And this is really about my personal challenge. And also the fact that once I set the revelation that once I really in my heart committed to do this Camino, I've at least walked 5 miles a day. So, and trained an hour a day. So somehow my schedule opened up for me to do that. I was able to say yes to walking and no to certain other things, or to combine listening to a course that I'm taking online or a training session, or even just enjoying music on my walk or podcast, and making that time to do this and saying no to other things, other distractions. And so far, so good. Now, I'll come back at some later podcast and share with you about the journey. But God willing, everything goes well and successful, and my feet will be okay. So what am I going to, in preparing for this, I am walking with a weighted vest, and I'm walking out my door and for however amount of time I have, and then half that time and turning around and walking back. So we have a lake near us here where I live called White Rock Lake, and it's 10 miles around the lake. So wanting to make that route this weekend at least once, if not twice. And last weekend I did the 8 mile section of that route. So, steps in the right direction. So wearing the weighted vest, I will be just carrying a light day pack and a waist pack, a fanny pack, and a bottle of water. And in that pack, there's a few things that are essential for me that I know that is going to be part of it. One is Mighty Maca for sure, because I have to alkalinize, decrease the acidity from the heat, the stress on my adrenals, inflammation that results from long, extensive walking. Plus, it's very hydrating. The second thing is electrolytes. I'll be carrying electrolytes with me to mix into my water to keep really well hydrated. So the most important thing is hydration on this trail, as well as some protein-rich snacks. So my Paleo Valley beef jerky are some of my favorite things to keep with me, especially when I'm traveling. So I'm stocking up on those as we speak, as well as additional Band-Aids, um, first aid, a small first aid kit, just in case, get scraped on the road, and change of clothes, and a towel. And I think that's basically it. I have merino wool socks that I was advised to get, and I'm using the sneakers that I'm training in right now, as well as a raincoat, a very lightweight rain poncho type thing, because the weather is unpredictable at this time, but there are rainy afternoons, I'm told. And along the way, because of the walk goes through many towns, there's places to eat, and there are the hotels or cottages that I'll be staying in along the way, because I decided not to tent and, you know, sleep on the side of the trail. Anyway, not for me. I very much enjoy experiencing the cuisine of the different towns, as well as a good night's sleep as I set out for another walk, 20 miles, 20 miles a day. A big part of this is mental and emotional preparation, is the mindset to this, is encouraging conversations with myself and with others, and being prepared as possible. Talking to other people in that have done long hikes and that know how to prepare for a challenge like this, and really handling the doubters. So, addressing our support system, the people that are a positive support network is crucial, and that motivates you, but in handling the doubters. So, how do you deal with negativity and skepticism from others? And how can you turn doubt into motivation? Well, that is something that I really first, when one of my dear friends said, "Oh, maybe plan for that next year." I was like, "I'll show you." But then I checked in with myself. I said, "Okay, reality check here. Can you do this walk?" So challenged myself and walked 8 miles and recovered pretty well. However, my feet and the shoes recognize I should wear a second pair of socks and make sure my socks are a little bit taller than the edge of my shoe, so that I don't get any blisters or sores. And again, 8 miles or 10 miles in a day is fine, but do that 10 miles twice a day, every day in a row for 7 days. I'm in that training and I'm working up to it. So that's my plan. So, first of all, check into that skepticism or negativity and say, okay, what's real, what's not real, and what can I actually do? Test myself now, be prepared, and move forward. And also recognize, too, this is someone I really care about, that it was intended in kindness, that it was intended in kindness, not to put me down or to doubt my abilities, but to say, hey, you haven't trained for this. Why don't you wait till next year? So I had to put it in perspective, so I don't hold resentment towards that individual. And and creating it, converting it into a positive. So being able to have that open conversation, like, I hear what you're saying. Well, how can I become more prepared, in your opinion, in the short amount of time that I have to prepare? 2 weeks. Okay. So that's an important reality check. So turn doubt into motivation, check in with yourself. What's real? What do we need to do to set ourselves up for success? So, how do we set our high goals and set ourselves up for success? The importance of setting high and yet achievable goals is that it pushes our limits, right? It creates an excitement, a momentum that can really profoundly can be celebrated within our lives, and celebrating within ourselves that we are playing big and not shrinking back. Oh, I'm 58. I shouldn't go on a long hike. Definitely not by myself. And what are you thinking for 124 kilometers? Let's turn it around. Good for you. You're going on a hike. You're doing this by yourself. This is amazing. I can't wait to hear about it. How can I join you on one of your walks? How can I help you? How can I support you? So that's really key, that we switch this around. And then in goal setting, there's the SMART goals. And you probably heard this before, the acronym SMART, meaning specific, goal, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So that you have these very specific goals that you can measure an outcome and that you can achieve. It can be a stretch goal. It's relevant to you in your life. For me, this is a spiritual and personal journey as I turn 58. So it's relevant to this. I'm healthy enough to do it. and it's time bound. It's in a certain amount of time. You have that you're going to do it and accomplish it within this time frame. And again, I am not necessarily a better person for doing it. I'm not a worse person if I don't do it, right? But I'm very curious to see what I experienced during that time. No cell phones, no work during that week. Oof, gosh, I don't know about you guys, but it sounds delightful. All right. So planning for success is by creating a detailed plan and timelines. We want to plan for success. We have to create a plan. So detailed plan and a timeline. What is it? What does it look like? How can you achieve that and yet be flexible and adapt to changes when they occur? So this is a when I talk about doing the Camino, I have to back up a little bit. One of my most inspiring individuals and friends is Dr. Angeli Akey. She's a longtime friend of mine, and I always call her Saint Angeli. I mean, she's just this amazing spiritual person. And she's also Catholic. We've done rosaries together, and she's just is so kind and intelligent and brilliant in so many ways. And she's such a giver. And so we had talked a few years ago about doing the Camino, and then we talked recently about doing the Camino de Santiago when I was going to be in Portugal. And then she couldn't come because she couldn't get away from her work, her clinic. She had other employees that were going to be out at the same time as the only date window that I had available. So at that point, I had said, okay, I'm not going to do it either. If you're not going, I'm not going with you. Plus, I know she knows all the history and all the stories of the saints better than I do. And then it just seeded in me. It kind of opened up. And the time that I was going to use in Portugal to go to the south of Portugal and the north of Portugal and different areas, certain things around that changed. And the time frame opened up. So that little seed that was planted in me just started growing. And I started searching Camino de Santiago. I started listening and looked at the paths and I looked at, okay, what do the hotels and cottages look like on the routes? And the one that I'm most interested in, I reached out to a couple organizations and it just fell into place. So I felt like, okay, that means this is right. This is the right time for me to listen, answer the calling that's been in my heart to do this hike. And so for my 58th birthday, I've set a huge stretch goal for myself. And with that, working to prepare myself for success through nutrition, hydration, hiking, the physical fitness that's required beforehand, and then just going with the flow when I get there, going with the flow when I get there. And I think that's a really critical piece of what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So in recap, I just want to summarize the importance of embracing challenges. When you're called to do something, answering the call, if you are inspired, you have a vision, you have a hope, you have a dream, set up those high goals and plan for success. Plan for success. So I encourage all of you to take on your own challenges and believe in your ability to succeed. Believe in your ability to succeed. Don't let doubt keep you from shining or hold you back or keep you playing small if it has. If not now, when, right? If not now, when? And the journey is just as important as the destination. So embrace every step with courage and confidence, being present in your life, in your ambitions, every step of the way. And our age is not a limiting factor. And if there are things we need to do to set our goal high, to improve our health, to improve our abilities, our strength, each day we can get healthier and stronger. And it just takes one right next step at a time. So I thank you guys for listening to me about my journey and my ambition to walk the Camino de Santiago. And I encourage you guys to visit me at dranna.com. Be sure you're subscribed to my newsletter. We have some special events and webinars and master classes and things coming up. So be sure to subscribe to dranna.com for more resources and to connect with me on social media at The Girlfriend Doctor. I invite you back to listen to future episodes as well as past episodes, always striving to bring you the best content and open, honest conversation. I love being your girlfriend doctor. Till next time.